tell you once.
You're gonna kill it. Keep going.
Alright, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Alright. When I was younger, my parents got divorced. Oftentimes, I did not have a healthy relationship in my life to look to learn and to grow from. There were many times it was challenging and stressful, especially as the oldest, the one my younger siblings looked to when they needed guidance. My escape was movies. Film has the power to educate, to connect, to relax. Movies have greatly influenced my life and the person I have become. And I took liberty in this project to take a deeper look into how it does the same for others. Hi, I'm Logan Fox, and this is my senior presentation, Film and Culture. At the beginning of the semester, I set out to answer the essential question, how do movies and the topics they portray reflect the values of society at the time, and what power do they have in influencing people in response? The answer I found was simple. Movies often portray relevant issues of the time period and can leave lasting impressions on viewers based on their content. To get my 35 project hours, I decided to watch the highest rated films on IMDb from each decade, going back to the 1920s, and review them on a rubric I created. Through some research and personal experience, I decided that the four most important qualities of any movie are the acting quality, visual effects, the plot, and the music score. Acting quality helps give realistic reflections of people in society, making it more relatable to people viewing. Visual effects give a more believable setting and scenes, whether they be based on reality or fantastical imaginations. Even in fantasy, having a believable setting to what was written is important. Plot gives a good story, something people can keep with them. It's the message, it's what you take out of the film. And the music score sets the tone for the movie and indicates where it's going and can act as foreshadowing and whatnot. Like I said, I chose the highest rated IMDb films from each decade to ensure the films selected were indeed influential and caught multiple different time periods. I looked at how they fit the standards of the rubric I created and analyzed how they reflected societal beliefs at the time they were written and filmed. The movies I watched were Metropolis, a German silent film from 1927, Modern Times, Charlie Chaplin's last film as The Tramp, It's a Wonderful Life from 1946, a Christmas classic, 12 Angry Men, one set film, which is really interesting, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood's maybe most iconic spaghetti western, The Godfather, a 1972 mob drama, Godfather, The Empire Strikes Back, the sequel to A New Hope, and arguably the best Star Wars film, The Shawshank Redemption, the 1992 Prison Break film, The Dark Knight, sequel to Batman Begins with Christian Bale, and Inception, kind of a meta mind bender. It's pretty interesting. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. In watching these 10 films, I noticed that a few in particular directly reflected the world at the time of their creation. Metropolis was filmed in 1927 Germany during the interwar period and heavily portrayed multiple fascist ideals. It was anti-capitalist, it had a dictator, it portrays revolution as evil, and supports a class system where everyone knows their place and doesn't step out of line. Modern Times, a Chaplin silent film, portrays the hardships faced by many during the Great Depression, such as lack of jobs, major societal inequities, and mistreatment of workers in factories as the nation shifted more primarily towards automated industry. And then 12 Angry Men depicted the bias that plagued the American justice system during the period of the Red Scare and McCarthyism. As the jurors deliberated, they had to look past their own personal preconceptions to hold a fair trial, one where the defendant could only be declared guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. As you can see, they all reflect the culture of the times and kind of push ideals onto their viewers that may influence them. The next of my project was my community connection. I made 2 appearances on BHS's Talent Talk podcast, during the movie madness bracket that was sent out to all of you during March. We talked about what the greatest movies of all time were. I discussed with students and faculty such as Mr. Dixon, Mr. McKylan, Mr. Cannon, Mr. Sheehy, on how films impacted them and some that were important to them. One I found was really popular among the people was The Princess Bride, one with a lot of rewatchability, I think was the word Mr. Cannon used. In this discussion, I used personal experience from before I started my project and experience I gained during my project to contribute to the discussion. I also hosted a movie night at my house with friends and family. Here I displayed the movie that got the highest rating on my rubric, The Empire Strikes Back, and then had everyone else fill out a rubric as well. It was generally well liked. Additionally, we took this time to discuss how movies had played a role in each of our lives. Movies had given some of my friends opportunities to feel represented, to learn new things, and escape from reality for a short period of time. Impacts were sometimes even a little silly, evidenced by this quote from my stepdad. He recalled that the first time he watched Jaws, he was only 5. He had older brothers, my Uncle Rob and my Uncle Frank, who kind of showed him some stuff he probably didn't need to see at the age of 5. And for years, he refused to go in any body of water for fear of being attacked. I think this just, again, highlights how movies can influence minds into believing things that aren't necessarily true. Sharks aren't violent. They don't just go out of their way to attack you. Now, he also, I should clarify, wanted me to toss in here that he is no longer afraid of sharks. They are his favorite animal, and he has moved past this. As a matter of fact, a few years back, he went shark diving, cage diving in Australia. So he's a big boy now. You just need me to get that in there. Now, let's look forward to see how this affects all of us. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic having halted some movie revenue, the film industry has bounced back and transformed. Global revenue has not only returned to pre-pandemic levels, but is actually the highest it's ever been and is only expected to continue to rise, especially as streaming platforms become more accessible. With the increase in streaming platform popularity, movie accessibility has increased, leading to larger populations being influenced by film, especially in other nations, such as in India or China, where film has become much more accessible over the past few years. As this movie accessibility continues to increase, it's important for viewers to continue to be educated on the ways film influences them and can reflect societal ideals. For example, China is a heavy investor in Hollywood, and they are known to often tailor films to fit their own political agendas. In Doctor Strange, for example, Tilda Swinton, a white British actress, was cast to portray a Tibetan because of China's conflict with Tibet. Viewers should be aware and informed of alterations like these as to not influence their own prejudices and biases. Other films that got edited by China include Skyfall and Fast and the Furious 7, where anti-Chinese ideals were forced to be removed so they could be shown in that nation. In conclusion, movies have the power to change and mold one's outlook on the world. I hope to have provided you a new perspective on how you look at film as a whole, and I encourage you to watch them through a different, more objective lens going forward. Just be informed.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie ever? Okay, so this is kind of a heated debate. I'd say it's Die Hard 3. Other people would say it's Die Hard. I don't know who they think they are. Any other questions? Conti?
So as someone who's not a movie guy, like out of your top 10, I've seen maybe one of them. And it's not The Godfather movie from anyway. On like tonight, like a weeknight, could you just go home and like watch a movie? Is that what you think? I watch either sports or reality television garbage. Like, if you just watch movies at night, is that a night activity for you?
Yeah, I kind of watch movies in a weird way. I don't really watch movies. A lot. So what I do is I scroll through my TV late at night, and then I like watch bits of movies, and then I can pretend I have a lot of movie knowledge to people, and it makes me look smart. Dylan.
When you looked through IMDb, what was the highest rated movie there of all time?
I believe the highest one was Shawshank, which kind of surprised me. I would have expected an older film like Metropolis. Metropolis was really interesting. I had trouble watching Metropolis because it was 3 hours long, and the copy I found, it's German, but it was a silent film, so they don't say much, but the cards that come up during silent films were all in German, and I had no clue what was going on for a lot of it. But I pulled up a synopsis, and I synthesized some information, figured it out. And that was an interesting one. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, go for it, Colin.
Did you think about watching the worst rated movies of all time also?
Talking like some Razzies? No.
Do you know what is the worst rated movie?
I'm gonna guess something, we're pushing like Velocipaster territory. I don't know, man. All right,
Thank you.
Is that, we good?